Hey everybody. So I want to start today's video off by just introducing myself. My name is Elise Webb. For those of you who haven't seen my videos before, I love to throw videos out there, and I'm just so kind of learning and growing and hoping that I can help people have better lives by sharing kind of what I've learned and how I've grown in my life. But anyways, I was born and raised in Utah, and I married my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 11 years, and we have 3 little boys. And where my passion and purpose kind of came from is the fact that I struggled with anorexia and binge eating disorder for years. So I struggled with anorexia for a couple years, and then binge eating disorder for probably 6 or 7 years after that. And I tried everything. I read books. I tried therapy where you can learn about what your triggers are and how to stop triggers so that you stop binging. I read and I learned and I tried the willpower approach where you're just like, I can do this. I've done 5 days without binging. So that's kind of the willpower approach where you just kind of cling on for dear life and hope you can continue to do it. And it just never worked. Nothing ever worked. And so I was able to find something that worked for me, and it was almost instant. Once I figured this out about my mind and how the human mind works and how a human experience works, I was able to break free of my habit. Also, I struggled with a lot of anxiety, and I was able to understand my anxiety and be able to wrestle less with my anxiety. And I have seen people learn this and be able to break free of bad habits and addictions and really find happiness. And so I just have this huge desire to share it with others to hope that I hope that it can help them find happiness in their lives. So I want to start by telling you a story. So there are 2 people on an airplane, and one person is having thoughts like, I'm terrified of airplanes. I hate flying. What is that? Did it just jump? I felt the airplane. Like, are we going down? What is going on? Like, this is taking so long and I want to get out of here. And they're having this awful experience. And then there can be a person sitting right next to them on the exact same airplane thinking thoughts like, look at the beautiful sunshine outside. I'm so excited to get to whatever my destination may be. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited. And they're having a completely different experience in the exact same spot, in the exact same place. So this goes to show this is how the human experience works. This is how our mind works. Basically, we have thoughts that create this movie inside of us, right? And we honestly, when people say we are creators, we literally create our own experience. But now that I've said this to you, I don't feel like we have much control over what we think. So for an example, do not think of a monkey. You're all thinking of a monkey, right? It's just how the human mind works. Thoughts come in, negative and positive thoughts, and we can't really control it. And so the traditional self-help way of teaching you to have a happy life is to say, think positive thoughts. Just continually think positive thoughts and you're going to be okay. Like, just think thoughts of self-love. And this isn't so natural for us because it's just not how our minds work. And but once I put a little, I learned a little twist to this, I was able to change. And so instead of telling you to think positive thoughts, I want to teach you a different way of going about thought and a different way of thinking about thought in general. So I want you to envision yourself as the blue sky. So the real you, and there's a part of you that without thought, if there was no thought there's a part of you that is okay. I honestly believe that all humans are okay. Our natural state of being is well. We are happy and we are peaceful, and that is our natural state without thought. But what happens is the thought comes in. So I want you to envision yourself in that natural place of well-being and happiness and peacefulness is the blue sky. And what happens is thought comes in, and the thought is going to be weather. So the weather comes in. The sunshine comes in, which is great and happy, and we have these happy experiences. And then the lightning and dark clouds come in, and we have these different experiences. If there are 2 things I know, which there's not a lot that I know. I honestly don't feel like I know a lot of things that I can say that I know. But one thing that I know is that there is a part of us that our natural state, that part of us that is okay and well, and that is the part of us that when you feel like you can hear something and it feels true to you, when you can feel a connection to another human being, that happy, peaceful part of you, and it's unchangeable. It's always okay, and it's always there, and it's always still. And the other thing that I know is that everything else is always changing. Tell me one thing in life that is not constantly changing. Everything is always changing, whether it's thought, whether it's feelings, whether it's emotions. Any experience is always just running through and changing. But what happens is we don't separate the two. So we believe that we are our thoughts, and our experiences feel so real. So an example is when I was struggling with binging, and these urges and thoughts would come into my mind, like, you're a binge eater and you have to binge, and all these things would come into my mind, and I didn't realize that I was separate from thought. I didn't realize that thought was not true. I didn't realize that thought was powerless. I didn't realize that thought was not who I was, and I didn't realize that thought was always changing, and it was always and so what would happen is I would attach myself to this thought, and I would wrestle with the thought, and I would try so hard to not binge and not go to the bad habit that I had. And I just, no matter what amount of willpower or anything, I just couldn't do it. And I always would end up binging. So once I realized that I was separate, once I realized that I was not my thought, and that wasn't true, I was able to have these thoughts come, the same thoughts, the same urges, and I was able to just find that still part of me, and I was able to just sit and be still. I became the observer in my mind. So I observed the thoughts, and as I observed the thoughts, they would run through me, and everything would be okay again, because it's continually moving. Everything else is always constantly moving, and I would always end up being okay. And so I feel like if we can use this approach in our life, this will be how we are able to find true change without willpower. We're able to detach from the thought and let it run through us, and then still remain and be okay. So it's so sad that there's so much unnecessary suffering, and the suffering comes from thought, like what we think something should be like. And then it doesn't go that way, and then it causes pain. But if you can find that part of you that remains still, that remains okay, and you can realize that thought is separate, and you can let thought run through you. And I have to say this, the other thing that we do is, so say you're having like a craving for a cookie, or a thought that you need a cookie or whatever, what we do is we wrestle with that thought. So we try to resist the thought, and that again is believing and attaching to the thought. So you can go ahead and, I need a cookie, I'm having this craving for a cookie. You attach to that, and the thought grows, and you're still believing it. So don't resist thoughts. Let those negative thoughts come, observe them, and let them run through you. If you wrestle with them, if you try to change them, then that means you're believing it. That means you're saying, oh, this is true, and this is really happening. This is a real experience, when actually it's just a thought. And thought's actually never true until we attach to it and make it a true thing about our lives. So I've seen practicing this change lives, and I hope that this will help you realize the power that you have once you find that powerful place that is really you. Once you find out who you really are and the power that you have within yourself, and you realize that it's okay to have thought. It's okay to have negative thoughts, okay to have positive thought, but that you are still okay, and that it will go away, and that you're going to be okay. You will be able to find true lasting change without having to have willpower, without having to change triggers in your life and things like that. So I hope this helps all of you. Please share this with anyone who you think it would help. And I think all of us struggle with bad habits and addictions in some way or another. And so share this with people that you think that it will help them overcome their bad habits and addictions, whether it be habits of actions or habits of thinking. And I want you to try to go within yourself instead of reaching out like we do. We try to go outside of ourselves to find happiness, and we try to do things that make us feel better, and realize that instead, if you turn inward, everything is okay. And if you turn inward, you have control over your whole human experience, and you can have happiness, and you can find that natural state that you're supposed to be in, which is happy and well. So anyways, have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.